Hi, I'm Jen and I'm the Gaming Mum. Today I'm looking at Persona 5 Strikers. Let's go! Persona 5 Strikers was released in February 2021. To date I have put over 30 hours into the game, and now I think I'm almost at the end of the game. When I heard through the Nintendo Direct that a Persona game was coming to the Switch, I got excited. 1, because I loved Persona 5, 2, because of what that represents. A game franchise that was exclusive to Sony and the PlayStation coming to the Switch is a pretty big thing, especially for a franchise as big as Persona. Sure, a port of Persona 5 would have been insane, but Strikers is a great start. I do think this could only be a positive towards things to come. In order not to spoil too much, video capture will be from inside the first jail or the very beginning of the story, as this has been shown via trailers anyway, and I've added in screenshots throughout. So Strikers starts off following on from the Persona 5 game. Firstly, what's important if you haven't already checked this game out, you'll need to know the story of Persona 5. You could always check it out from other places along the internet if you haven't played it or simply can't remember. You can play this game without knowing the story, but some aspects of the story or the relationships between other characters will not make any sense. It's a great story anyway, and one I definitely think is worth checking out. The game has the same feel as Persona 5 in its format. It has some long story cutscenes, but they are great in my opinion. But outside of those cutscenes, you are able to visit some shops, walk around certain locations, talk to NPCs, even head off to the Velvet Room and splice some personas. It might be slightly limited, but honestly I don't think it needs much more, otherwise it could be too much for the player and distract too much from the main part of the game. The story follows the group of friends discovering what they believe initially to be a jail. It, however, is something slightly different. And this is where the game begins to differ from Persona 5 and takes on the Strikers feel. In the multiverse you have a group of 3, the player-chosen character, not necessarily Joker, and 2 others. And you are pretty much surrounded by massive groups of enemies. The bulk of these don't take much more than 1 hit, others will require a persona attack or make it quicker if you're trying to get somewhere. But basically you grab a big group of enemies and slash them down. As you work towards each area in the multiverse's boss, you'll come to a castle which is the main aim in these jail. In the castle you'll work your way up to the very top to the boss to then defeat them and in Persona style take their heart. Though without spoiling it, the heart is something slightly different than Strikers. There are plenty of save points so you can hop in and out of the multiverse, which I love, except for in the castle where I think there is one just before the boss due to the game making you pause in the multiverse. So what do I love about this game? Well, a lot. If you're in a bad mood or something, going into the jail and just grouping the biggest group of enemies you can and slashing your way through them is great to help you relax. Of course, you can't zone out in some areas later on or you might end up with a party wipe because you didn't pay enough attention. Combat wise, it is enjoyable to play, swapping personas as Joker and discovering each character's unique playstyle and abilities. The showdown attack is also pretty cool to watch, especially for each character's version. The game graphically is lovely to look at and distinctive in the style of Persona, but it is a very beautiful game, complete with slight almost comic book art style in conversation cutscenes, not the full anime style cutscenes that are in various places in the game. The story as well is very interesting and engaging, again following on from the Persona 5 itself. The characters are still fully fleshed out from Persona 5 and are believable. Some aspects of the story can pull on your own hearts, and others make you laugh or chuckle to yourself. It's a really well thought out storyline which utterly hooks you in. It is definitely a hybrid of a game, taking parts from Dynasty Warriors with the hack and slash element and of course Persona itself. Now I wasn't sure it would work, although I could see how it could, and honestly I think Atlus and Megaforce and P Studio have done a brilliant job. Of course, nothing can be said without commenting on how hopeful I feel after playing this game that a main story Persona game or even a port could come to the Switch. I was worried with the massive groups of enemies there could be lag on the Switch, but for me this wasn't the case in either handheld or docked on my TV. It looked just as beautiful, though I found the text a little harder to read in handheld personally. The Switch can definitely handle it, and it's definitely a brilliant example of how a game that was initially released on the PlayStation can be ported to the Switch successfully. I definitely think if you like the Persona franchise, or even if you've not played Persona 5, after a brief catch-up, I think this game is a must-have for pretty much any player. Have you played Persona 5 Strikers on the Switch? Let me know what you think in the comments below. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.